Hey, everybody, and welcome to Crossing Kin and the Crossing Kin Living Room. I'm Kristen, and as you can see, I am by myself. My dad is hard at work getting the Crossing Kin garage ready and raring to go for us to return to it in October, hopefully. Again, it has been under construction all summer long, and we appreciate you guys sticking with us while we've made our home here in the Crossing Kin Living Room. But for today, I am on my own. And guess what, guys? Today also happens to be my birthday. So today we are going to be looking at something that honestly is really something only I can speak to here at Crossing Kin. So let me kind of set the stage for you here. While my dad made sure I grew up with a supreme love of music and classic musicals, see here or here, wherever the card may be, um, our top 10 list of movie musicals, I didn't really know that much about the stage growing up. Again, I grew up with the classic musicals, Singing in the Rain, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Hans Christian Andersen, and a myriad of others. But until I got older, I didn't really understand what a stage musical was. And as a result, I wound up coming to something like Broadway very late in life. In fact, today I'm going to kind of tell you how I came to be a big Broadway fan and just kind of my favorite musicals as well as, a musical I would like to be in one day if the opportunity ever did present itself. So consider today kind of Kristen's story time on Broadway. As you can see, I do love me some Broadway. My sister, thank you, Katie, went all the way to New York and she brought me back a playbill from Broadway. As you can see, it was The Lion King. Thank you so much, Katie, for my gift. I will treasure it forever. So, all right. Again, like I said, grew up on the classics. Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, um, Shirley Jones, all the old greats of the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, as far as classic musicals go. As I got older, I was still very into musicals. I love them. Again, see mine and dad's top 10 list on the best film musicals to see just how much we truly do love the genre. But flashback about 10 years ago, in I believe it was 2014, and my best friend learned that I was really into musicals as well as fairy tales. As stated on this show before, I am a very big fan of Once Upon a Time. And she's like, well, if you like that, well, then you'll love this. And she loaned me her DVD copy of the Into the Woods Pro Shot. I believe it was some kind of anniversary special. It starred Bernadette Peters. And I proceeded to watch that Pro Shot every day for a week. I am not kidding. I watched it as soon as I got home from her giving it to me. I had it for a full week and I watched it every single day that week. I was enthralled by Into the Woods. The actors, the music, Stephen Sondheim, bless you for creating such a beautiful score with Into the Woods. And my dad slightly curses you because I got him to watch it with me one day and he proceeded to be singing Agony for a week and he was mad at me about it. So Into the Woods is certainly an earworm and it is what kind of got me started on investigating Broadway. Over the next couple of years from 2014 to 2020, I was kind of in and out of the Broadway scene. I was hearing about things involving Broadway. I discovered the pro shot of Newsies on Netflix starring Jeremy Jordan, which was amazing. I became minorly obsessed with Jeremy Jordan there for a minute, especially since he voiced Varian on Tangled the series. Jeremy Jordan is probably one of my favorite Broadway actors in the business right now. So, obviously, anything involving him, I was at least investigating. But I honestly wasn't that into it yet. Again, I had become obsessed with Into the Woods and a few other shows that I had heard about, but I wasn't actively seeking them. Then in late 2019, news broke that Hamilton, with its original cast, was getting a pro shot to be released the next year in 2020 to theaters. And I was pretty excited about it. I had learned Lin-Manuel Miranda's name through Moana, and I knew who he was through my own research. And also, Mary Poppins Returns, I believe, had just come out around that time or was about to come out, something like that. And so Lin-Manuel Miranda was at least on my radar. And a few other actors and actresses that I knew were part of the original cast. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. When it gets to theaters in 2020, I'll be sure to go see it. Well, 2020 had other ideas. And of course, everything kind of shut down for a while, including movie theaters. But that paved the way for something very unique to happen with me. As I said, everything was shut down. We were all basically locked inside for about 9 months in 2020, maybe 6 to 9 months, depending on how you want to look at it. Well, being basically trapped inside for about 6 months, it causes you to really, really look at YouTube. And as I was looking at YouTube, I wound up in a classic rabbit hole. See, again, I had begun investigating Broadway since 2014. And since the news had broken in late 2019 about Hamilton, I was getting very curious about it. In early 2020, it was announced that Hamilton would be premiering on the 4th of July on Disney Plus. So I'm like, okay, I want to at least have an idea about what this is before I go and try to make my family watch this with me on Disney Plus, which I did successfully do, by the way. So, anyway, went to YouTube, looked up Hamilton soundtrack. Instead of soundtrack, which, yes, I know it should be called a cast recording, I did not know that at the time. But instead of just finding the original cast recording album, I found an animatic. And for those of you who don't know what an animatic is, it is basically a pencil drawn animation, usually against a colored background. In this case, it was brown for most of the time. Sometimes whites would get thrown in. It was a bunch of different animatics strung together as the full musical, which was awesome. I cannot find it now. Otherwise, I'd link it down in the description. I'm fairly confident the YouTube overlords decided it was too great for YouTube. So anyway, I found that animatic and proceeded to spend an entire afternoon watching it. After that, I was sold. Hamilton was my jam. And I informed Dad that and Mom and Katie that I really, really, really wanted to watch Hamilton on the 4th of July. This was probably in March, so we had a few months to, kind of make that happen. And I made sure that they saw the trailers, heard a little bit of the music, and they were constantly hearing me going, I want to be in the room where it happens. And they're just like, what are you singing? I'm like, Hamilton! Because it was trapped in my brain. That is the way my beautiful jukebox brain works. So, all right, watch the Hamilton animatic, and that's what launched me. Suddenly, a bunch of Broadway stuff started appearing in my YouTube queue. Specifically a channel called Pat Steele or Catherine Steele, one of the two. I'm going to link it down in the description below. If you are a fan of Broadway, please go check out her channel. She is awesome and fun and a little bit nuts. And I mean, hey, if you're into Broadway, you've got to be all those things. But I started watching a bunch of her videos as well as several other people that primarily look at Broadway on YouTube. I found a couple of Let's Go with Slime tutorials, and I started discovering how much I truly did love these stage shows. Now, I have yet to actually see a proper Broadway musical. I have seen a few shows put on by high school and college production teams, drama troops, etc., but nothing ever quite to the level of a full-on Broadway production in a theater. I have yet to see that. If you want to help me see that, send me tickets to our Gmail account. That is down there. Send two so that dad can go see it with me. Um, but I discovered several musicals that have launched their way into some of my favorite things to listen to. The Legally Blonde album. I did not think that was going to be a good show. I was blown away by the pro shot I was able to find of it. Laura Bell Bundy is who is playing Elle Woods, and she has an incredible voice. It was truly truly awesome. I discovered the musical Six, which has become one of my favorite things. Like I have at least four of the six queens songs memorized. So if not all six, so like they're kind of my karaoke jams. And I discovered Hadestown. Hadestown is far and away my favorite Broadway musical at this point in time. It combines a lot of my favorite things. I've said before, Greek myths as storytelling, it fascinates me. The cool jazzy bluesy sound on of the score is beautiful and kind of bluegrass, and it kind of speaks to the roots of where I've come from, especially with who my dad is, having given me an appreciation for that style of music um in my early childhood. Hadestown as a musical is a masterpiece of music and storytelling. The cast is amazing. And actually, the gentleman who plays Hermes on the cast recording, Andre DeShields, he has begun showing up in some of the TV shows I watch, and I've become the Leonardo DiCaprio meme going, please, because every time I see his name, I'm like, hey, it's Hermes. And my family's just looking at me like, what are you talking about? Dad knows it because I got him to listen to the cast recording with me, but mom and Katie just kind of look at me funny. But the rest of the cast is phenomenal as well. Uh, they just, oh my goodness. I cannot say how much I love Hadestown. Um, and I know that it's coming to Arkansas on tour at some point soon-ish, like in April, I think. I don't know if I'll get to go see it. I'm hopeful, but I don't know. Um, but it is on my bucket list of shows that I want to see. There are a lot of shows on my bucket list, I'm not gonna lie. Um, but yeah, Hadestown is far and away my favorite musical. I also discovered Wicked. Um, Obviously, everybody is talking about Wicked. The movie version of Wicked should be coming out in the next couple of months. So I'm very, very, very looking forward to that. The trailers look awesome to me. And again, I've never seen the musical live, so I don't know how it is supposed to be done. I only know what I have heard in the original cast recording. But Wicked is also a show that I've recently discovered and had on repeat. At the beginning of this year, Wicked was the show that I had on repeat. I've already mentioned Newsies. It is one of the shows on my Broadway playlist. I am the proud owner of a Broadway playlist. That's like the membership card that you have to consider yourself a Broadway fan. The Broadway playlist on your Apple Music or iTunes or whatever the crap that app is. Um, but yeah, I think the shows on that playlist are Newsies, Wicked, Matilda, Hamilton, Hadestown, Six, and Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. All of them are the original cast recordings. I've not included any like movie versions of the cast a la Chicago or something like that. But I do love the Chicago score, and I really want to find a way to investigate what Chicago, the Broadway show, is like. But yeah, those are the musicals that are on my Broadway playlist, and those are probably the musicals I love. That playlist is going to be expanded. I know that I have the Legally Blonde soundtrack on my wish list of albums to buy next. Please, if you know of musicals based on everything I've said that I've already liked, if you know of musicals that you think I will love the score for, or that you think I would be completely into, please recommend them down in the comments section below. I've investigated multiple other Broadway scores and they just aren't my thing. But if you know of a show that I really do need to check out, please comment it down below. Send me links to the album so that it's really easy to find. Original cast recordings, primarily, if they are available, would be fantastic. Thank you very much. But anyway, moving on to the probably last bit, we're going to talk about some of the Broadway stuff that I would love to see most of all and potentially participate in. Like, I know every Broadway fan is like, oh, I could do this part great. I could do this part great. I don't know if I would ever say I could do a part great, but I think I could do it well. I don't have many of those roles that I would want to desperately play. In fact, I think I only really have two. I would really, really, really like my number one is I want to be Persephone in Hadestown. I don't know how well I'd be able to pull off the dancing. I would probably have to spend way more time in the dance classes than I would in the vocal training. But her songs are my favorite in the Hadestown score. And I love the fact, this sounds terrible, but I love the fact that she's actually the one that gets the happy ending in the show. Like, she winds up getting everything she wants. She starts to repair her marriage. She gets to go back to above ground, and she and Hades' their 6 months there, 6 months here arrangement is back on track how it should be. So, um, I think Persephone really is the only one who comes out well in Hadestown, and she is who I would want to play. Again, all of her parts they're in my vocal range. Um, so I think I could manage the vocal challenges of it. And while yes, Eurydice is the lead and it's one that would be fun, there are only parts of Eurydice's lines that I would really want to do because they're the belts, and I like to think that I have a strong enough voice to handle those belts, but I really think Persephone would be a better fit for me if I randomly was allowed to participate in a production of Hadestown. My other one would probably be Jane Seymour in Six. Um, Again, just because I know I have a strong enough voice to hit some of the belty notes in her song Heart of Stone. Um, and also just based on some of the clips I've seen, a lot of her dancing is not quite as intricate as the others. So again, because I don't know how well I would do with a lot of the choreography, I think Jane would probably suit me a bit better. Um, the only struggle I would have is the very, very, very high notes that the cast recording version of Heart of Stone hits there at the end. I cannot hit. I don't know what those notes are called. I've always called them stratosphere notes, but they are notes that are well out of my range. So as much as I would love to be part of that, I feel like I'd be down to play any of the queens, quite honestly, but I think Jane is probably where I would be best suited as far as Six goes. So yeah, again, I don't have any delusions that one day a random casting agent is going to appear and be like, "We absolutely have to have you for this show." But if fantasies became reality, I would absolutely jump at the chance to be part of a Broadway production. And those would be the productions I'd want to be in. Those would be the roles I'd want to play. Um, but yeah, so as far as shows I would want to see, I know this sounds really weird. other than Hadestown and Six, because those are the two that are on my bucket list. Those are the two that I absolutely desperately want to see in my lifetime. There are a couple shows that are just like in my little side pocket here, like, oh yeah, I want to see that on stage. I think it would be so cool to see that staged. One of them is The Lion King, and honestly, it's because I want to see how well these amazing puppeteers do with these puppets. I have seen clips of The Lion King for as long as I've been alive, and seeing the actual production with the puppets and what they have to take out and what they have to put in, anything that's unique to the show. I know that the Broadway production opens with He Lives in You, which was used in the straight to video Lion King 2 Simba's Pride. And so I'd love to see that live. I'd love to see how the show works with using He Lives in You as the opening and Circle of Life as the closing. So that's one that's it's not on my bucket list. It's not one that I have to see in my lifetime, but it would be one that I really want to see in my lifetime. Obviously, Hamilton is on there as well, and Matilda would be interesting just because I've seen the Netflix version, and it's got some weird special effects moments, and I want to see how they do those on stage. I don't, obviously, I doubt they do all of them, but I want to see how some of the stuff from the Matilda score plays out on a stage. And then my last kind of, I don't have to see it before I die, but I kind of want to see it before I die, is Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Um, this is another Sondheim production. If you can't tell, I'm very partial to Sondheim. I really, really like a lot of Sondheim's productions, and his scores. He's truly, truly amazing. His music was truly, truly amazing, and it's beautiful stuff. And Sweeney Todd is insane, but it is so cool in its insanity. I wish that I could find a version of Len Cariou doing Sweeney like in his prime, not just doing it randomly at a concert, but like performing it with Angela Lansbury. But that's not available because the pro shot that they did of Sweeney Todd was the touring cast, or Len had already left the show or something. But the only pro shot that's available, it's not Len, it's somebody else with Angela Lansbury. I think it was the touring cast, but I'm honestly not sure. Um, so, and as far as I know, there's really not a production of Sweeney Todd that's been filmed that's Sweeney Todd with Len as Todd, unless it's one of those that's been put in the vault and you're only allowed to see it if you're doing research for school or something. Yeah, there's a Broadway vault, guys. But anyway, uh, I was able to find a concert version of Sweeney Todd with an amazing cast. Like, I don't know who played Todd. I cannot remember that actor's name. But Emma Thompson played Mrs. Lovett, and Audra McDonald played the beggar woman. And it is so good, you guys. If you are able to find that concert, please do. It is incredible. But after seeing the pro shot of this concert, I really want to see a live full version of Sweeney Todd. Honestly, I would love to see a version of Sweeney Todd where Lin-Manuel Miranda was playing Todd. I think it would be amazing. I don't know who I'd want the rest of the cast to be. Um, but I know for sure I would want Lynn playing Todd. I think it would be very, very interesting to see him take on that dark of a role. So I know that's a lot of rambling. I know that's a lot of random stuff, but I never really get the chance to talk about Broadway stuff. Unfortunately, my dad, he's not been able to see near as many musicals as I know he would have liked. And At one point in time, we were considering doing a best Broadway shows top 10, but considering all I've seen are pro shots, slime tutorials, and random things I've been able to find on YouTube, and he's really only participated in high school productions of some musicals, we really didn't feel we had a great pool to draw from, especially considering how big of a pool Broadway truly is. Um, so, like I said a little while ago, if you want to recommend some musicals for me to investigate, again, based on the stuff I've already mentioned, Sweeney Todd is kind of an outlier, and that's more because I was curious about it, having seen the Johnny Depp movie, which wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Um, but Sweeney Todd's an outlier. The rest of the shows are pretty well, you know, in a similar-ish vein. But please recommend cast recordings and your favorite musicals. Tell me what more I need to investigate as far as Broadway goes. As I said, I really do love the genre and I would love to participate in it if the opportunity ever presented itself. Musicals, music, as y'all know, it is a great passion of mine. So the opportunity to participate in even a part of it would be amazing to me. Um, I know Broadway is a wide audience and it is a wide pool of talent and different styles, different genres. Broadway is kind of the one form of entertainment that can have every genre imaginable. It can have rapping in a period piece, a la Hamilton. It can have girl group pop songs set in a random afterlife concert a la Six. It can be bluegrass and jazz in a Greek myth a la Hadestown. There is nothing that Broadway can't do. And given the fact that at this point it seems just about every film, every um book series, everything is kind of starting to be given a Broadway treatment. There is a Rocky Broadway musical. There is a Percy Jackson musical. Like musicals are just everywhere. And a lot of our older media and even some of our newer media is getting taken by these incredible Broadway artists and given scores and lyrics and actors ready, willing, and able to go to town with it. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. This again, this is something that is very specific to me. And it's my birthday, so a little story time chat was what I wanted to do for the Kristen's birthday edition of Cross and Kin. So, like I said, recommend some musicals down in the comments below. Tell me what I need to investigate. Tell me what you think I could do in a Broadway show. If you can think of a role that you believe would be just, yes, that's a Kristen role, tell me that so that I can investigate it and see if I can hit some of the notes on that. But yeah, next time, Dad and I will be back, hopefully. I'm not going to promise anything, but hopefully we will be back in the Cross and Kin garage for our October videos and for the rest of the year until next summer when Arkansas decides to return to the oven. But until next time, I've been Kristen. This has been my Broadway diatribe, and thank you for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye!